Another topic we would like to discuss in today's show is the crude prices and this repercussion on the world economy and especially what's in store for India. So with this, I would like Dr. Swamy to give his initial remarks and Sri Iyer and Ramesh can discuss this further. Dr. Swamy, your comments on this crude price
Yeah, one
and
second.
its repercussion.
Dr. Swamy, 1 minute. Sri, if you don't mind, go on mute for that. Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Proceed, Dr. Swamy.
See, this is not a single-dimensional issue. Crude is there, and the prices are going up, prices are coming down. It's actually a multi-dimensional international part of the international politics also. Originally, most people don't know that when the Shah of Iran was ruling Iran, he wanted to buy a whole lot of weapons, which he wanted a generous staggering of the payments and so on. So Henry Kissinger told him that, you see, you're sitting on oil, which is being sold dirt cheap, which is actually almost the cost of production. He says, why? When you have to look at the demand factor. So people can't do without oil. So why don't you raise the price of oil? That's how this OPEC came into this cartel. And then they started raising the oil prices. Of course, Shah of Iran was deposed much later due to the democracy movement and the leadership of Khomeini. And but this setup became a bonanza for the entire Arab world, which was previously going on camels and living in tents. And now they were living in skyscrapers. They were owning the skyscrapers. What to talk about? That is the kind of wealth it produced. Ever since then, there has been a lot of thinking, what do we do? So one school has been started inventing an alternative fuel, and that is the hydrogen fuel cells. Some people are for automobiles thinking of batteries and so on, solar energy. So there's been, but there hasn't been any great progress by which oil could be replaced. Then came Obama, who created this huge bank of shale oil. America has a lot of shale oil. Shale oil means all these under the ocean there are rocks in which they are kind of moss kind of thing. You take that and then you squeeze it and you get oil. So that shale oil is as good as crude oil that the Arabs get by digging holes in the desert. So that huge, the reservoir they built gave America a cushion. And this is where the Trump, who succeeded him, has begun to see ways and means of reducing the influence of the Middle East, and particularly because it has, whether even if these countries individually are not supporting terror, but it has been the crucible from which terrorists have come. So now we have reached a situation that because of coronavirus, nobody is driving cars, the planes are not flying. So the demand for oil has gone down very sharply. And the Arabs are now stuck with a whole lot of oil. They don't know what to do. And so, Trump has been telling Putin that, you can lower the price. And so they've been lowering and low. They don't have storage capacity for that oil, all the oil that they have drilled. So the price has come crashing down. But after a certain point, I don't think in India we should be celebrating. I find people celebrating, oh, we are lucky, now we don't have to pay so much for oil. It will turn around because oil still doesn't have a substitute. And when the coronavirus lockdown and everything terminates, the demand for oil will rise again and again, and they will overcompensate it by raising the price of oil to beyond even $100 per barrel. So let me say, therefore, what you are seeing today is a very temporary matter, but it is basically to teach a lesson to the Arab cartel, OPEC, that, not to play around with the Western world, which, in particular America, which has an antidote for this.
Uh, I hear your comments on this.
Sir, the crude is on its way out, because if you look at the way America has embraced electric vehicle technology, that's sort of like a precursor to hydrogen fuel cell cars. There are 2 car companies today that you can lease hydrogen cell cars today in the United States, in the Silicon Valley. You can lease the cars from, like, I think 2 Japanese manufacturers are providing it. So they have special refueling places where there are like 4 or 5 spots. You have to go there, and then you just take out the old cylinder, put the new cylinder, and you're off and running. And this is already in test. I think the days of crude as being the only source of fuel are numbered. However, there is still a fair amount of sting left in the tail. So that's what I think we both are discussing. So we have to see how it plays out. Thank you.
Dr. Swamy, temporarily, do you think that India could take advantage of this drop in prices and have some economic benefit out of it?
The only way India can take any benefit, given the current situation and our declining and tailspin economy, is to buy a whole lot of oil at this zero. It's actually minus, because you are deducting the interest payments also. So therefore, it's minus. There's no way to pay minus. So this is what it means. But it's as good as zero. Buy as much oil as you can, and put a big program for creating underground tanks to store it. The Americans have done it, and this oil, even if we find a replacement, it will always have a place. As over the years, it might go on getting less and less in use, but we still need it for the next 30, 40 years. So store oil as much as you can, so that in future you can't be pushed around by Arabs raising oil prices and throwing our accounting to helter-skelter.
Thanks, Dr. Swamy. That was very useful.